Hello everybody and welcome to our showcase of the RU TV4 work. I'm Angie Youssef and in the studio with me today I've got a panel which is made up of 4 representatives, one from each production crew. Starting from my left, I've got Angie Spark from Chop Suey Productions. Hello Angela. We've got Michael Bailey from Colorblind Creations. We've got Janine Buran from Blue Blood Productions and Sheetal Makan from VAMS Productions. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well, basically, the main approach we're taking to our show today is to discuss, look at, and assess all the media work we've produced so far this year. What we're going to do is we're going to look at 3 main categories: technical skills, interpersonal and professional relations, as well as the conceptual elements of the pieces we're going to watch. Also, each of the pieces have been given a grade, either an A, a B, a C, or an F. But we'll talk about the grades later on the show. And also the discussion isn't just going to be inside here with the panel and myself, but we have a camera that's placed behind the panel, which will be giving you guys a view of our floor crew and giving them an opportunity to engage in the discussion. Also, we'll be crossing over to the control room to give them an opportunity to take part in the discussion, as well as show you guys like how it really comes together in a broadcast. So first up, we're going to be looking at the first piece of work we've done this term, the African Media Matrix packages. And this will be followed by a chase sequence, which was the main project we did in the term. And finally, we'll look at intergroup dynamics and personal relations within the crews. And as you guys know, the main objective of the exercise was to practice our edit skills and orient ourselves with our new editing program for the year.
Attention is
Pretty
quite
much
high,
already, and then
it was a challenge, yeah.
You've got the technical problems and kind of some people. I had a member of my crew who had a nice little temper tantrum, but it seemed to help. The
It
drama
brings in
came
the
out.
whole human thing, because then
Yeah, it
it's
does.
something
It
to laugh
does.
at. And
It does, and it kind of creates a group vibe. I remember actually our current director, the director of the show, I think she retreated to the fetal position somewhere in that editing workshop
Yeah,
we had.
when you've been sitting in the same place for
12 hours.
12 hours straight.
And those
doing the
cubicles
same
are small.
You've got to remember that it was the first
Time.
group project that we were carrying out. So we were also using the opportunity to get to know each other as a crew.
Absolutely, and I think we did quite a good job.
Definitely,
so,
yeah.
Well done, guys. Well, that was the African Media Matrix pieces, and next up we're going to be looking at the main project that we did this term, which was the chase sequences. And as you guys know, we met as a class, we sat down, and we assessed these pieces. And the categories we used to assess them were technical skills, so that includes things like camera work, editing, effects, audio, etc. We also looked at the conceptual element, the idea behind the piece, the creativity, if any, the cohesion. We discussed them, we evaluated them, and we graded them. And according to this, they all got Bs. So Chop Suey got a B, VAMS got a B, Colorblind Creations got a B, and Blue Blood Productions got a B. Now, what I want to speak to you guys about is these grades. How do you feel about them? Which piece do you think deserved a higher grade or a lower grade, and why?
No, I think without pointing out any specific pieces that I think deserved a high or low mark, I do think that there should have been a bit more variation in the marks. I don't think that they were all on exactly the same level. So just say that they all got Bs. I mean, it wasn't a set B, there were different, like some were 72,
like
some were
2%.
70s, but I do think that there was more variation than that was shown in the marks.
And do you think the way we graded them was consistent? Did we always constantly look at the out product, or did we let other issues?
I think it's hard to do that. You're marking your own work, and it's very difficult to be objective about it. We spent so much time working on them. You're just so close to it that it's hard to detach yourself and now look at this with, a critical eye and really be able to position it within relation to the other pieces.
You're speaking more about also the process, and we were going to assess the end product. It's very difficult to divorce yourself from the process because that also influences the end product. And although within your crew you know the issues that you dealt with, it's important that the rest of the class also knows what, the dynamics, the group dynamics, what they were like.
But is it really? I mean, at the end of the day, the person who is going to be viewing this, they're really going to be looking at the product. They don't care what went into it,
Well,
what
yeah,
difficulties
we
we had.
we are
Let's
discussing.
think about the
Let's
product.
talk about the product then.
Well,
like,
I think in terms of this marking grid, we now have the technical, the conceptual, and the intergroup dynamics.
Yes.
And you could get, I don't know, say an A for one, a B for the other, and the interpersonal could then be the one that either puts you in an A or puts you in a B. Is that really how it should work? Should interpersonal dynamics be able to push you into an A just because your group worked really well together?
However, if we
also
look
I
at
think-
surely,
It's
surely your group dynamics influence the product.
yeah,
Surely it influences the
Of course
product.
it
So
does.
when we are analyzing the end product, we need to look at the end product.
That's
But
what
the
I
only
Just
thing
as,
is that the interpersonal relationships affects the process.
Absolutely.
And if you're looking at, you can't see interpersonal relationships in the end product.
Yes.
Your product could have ended up failing because of other factors. You can't see that it worked or didn't work because of interpersonal relations.
Relations, yes.
So if you are looking at interpersonal relations, then you should look at the process as well, because it had a huge part to play. But if it's a category of our marking grid, then it must count to some,
It's
some
just
extent.
as Paul said, that when we write our final exams, the examiner is not interested in the hours that you put in studying.
I think we can cross over now to the control room. I think we have a comment in the control room with regards to this issue of the process and the groups.
And take it. I think group dynamics does come into play. Although we weren't marked upon group dynamics specifically to our marks, it does, I think, when we look at the cockroach, then cockroach production, it isn't as good as it could have been.
Well, they were generally graded quite similarly. So I think with regards to the briefing we got, we managed to produce a chase sequence, which was what we were out to do, right?
And I think we've upped the standard since last year.
So too. Then again, that's just our opinion. We'll have to get back to Paul on that one with regards to whether we up the standards or not.
Okay, well, I had worked with you guys before, just last year, but I found, and I think everybody would agree with me, that fourth year is a whole lot different to third year. And I know that personally for me it's a lot more intense because I am also working another job. So trying to fit the two in together has proved very difficult for me. And going into a new group straight away, in the midst of this hectic schedule that I've got already, I found you guys very accommodating.
What it takes is a certain level of reliability within the entire TV group. That you know that if you're going to mix crews for another project, that each person in that will be able to fulfill the roles, that you can rely on them, not only the people within your own crew.
When we came together, as a crew, we all brought with us our different personalities, our different strengths and abilities. And I think by now, as the term comes to an end, we've kind of realized where everyone's standard is, Although we all are trying to be on par with everyone else, some people are just stronger at certain things than others. And it was a challenge, but I think we've really
But also,
learned
I think
a
it's a
lot.
good thing. I mean, yes, we do all need to be able to do everything. By the end of by now, that should already be the case. But like you said, different people bring different strengths. And I think it's a great thing because you can learn from the other people in your group. I think that's what we need to do.
Absolutely. And I think Amy on our floor has a comment.
Yeah, well, I think particularly in our group, we had a lot of intra-group conflict, and the way we managed to actually deal with that is through humor, and that we've brought in the elements of humor in order to combat that, because ultimately we do have to get a product out, and wherever we are and whatever we feel about anyone else, the product is the main objective, and if you can have kind of mechanisms to combat a kind of conflict, then use them. And for us, we've definitely used the
Sorry,
humor.
Amy is from my group, and I was I think what you said is so right. Communication is key.
Yeah.
Is so important, and humor is such a great one because you can vent in ways that that make people relax. That you're not going to throttle each other. Let's rather
I'm also
blame it
aware
on the
of,
computer.
yes, you can scream and cry and do whatever you need to do, but on the whole, do you feel that within your crews you have established some level of professionalism that you can walk out of this course with?
I think at the end of the day, everyone knows that they need to get the product done, and the product has to be handed in on deadline, and that's where everyone starts putting together. They realize that they have a common goal, and while there may be conflict in that, it's just best to deal with it right then and there, hash it out, and then get back
it
on
out of the
track
way.
and re-establish the focus.
And it's very important with regard to professionalism, as you mentioned. We've got to kind of be able to not mix business with pleasure. you know.
So if someone in your crew is not pulling their weight, you have to be able to be able to be
and you must be
professional
able
about
to
it and
accept
tell them.
critiques, you know, well.
Criticism,
Yeah. So,
but I think this whole process has made us much stronger individuals. We've come out with a very good foundation, you know, with which, in terms of our crew dynamics, inter and intro group relations, to kind of build on with more work this year. So I think we'll be fine. Yeah.